Good morning. I figured since everybody was in here a little bit early, or a lot of people were, I would come live just a little early, say hello to everybody. So, hello Nettie from Mel Nettie Living Free Zip Codeless, meant to be RVing. RV Weekends, thank you for joining us this morning. Hello, Little Bit Crazy. I hope you are, if you're driving, having a safe and beautiful drive this morning. Thank you about the background. I love the backdrops. I love switching them up every now and then. And I think everybody likes to see, I get comments all the time when I switch them up. So thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, thank you, RV Weekends. You're so sweet. You are so kind. Thank you. Oh, I love Dee. She's so sweet. I absolutely adore her. She is just the sweetest. She has such a big heart. She's so kind. So very kind. Thank you, meant to be. Appreciate that. Yeah, I was so nervous. I don't know. I'm nervous about today too. It's different when I talk on my own channel. Because I don't know. Because I feel like everybody that comes here knows me as like a stuttering bubblehead, and you just all accept me for who I am. But you go to another channel and you're meeting new people, and it's a little more intense, as Uncle Lisa would say. So yeah, I was pretty nervous, but it's okay. Dee does a really good job making me feel safe and nice. So, oh, thanks, Nettie. So this morning, this morning, I ran across this interview of the best friend of Lori Vallow. And it's about a 2-hour interview, so it was a lot of information, but it kind of explained more about their belief system. And I know that was when I talked about the case before, people were asking how they believed in zombies, if they were LDS. And because that's not typically, I guess, what LDS believe. They don't believe in zombies. And so there was kind of some confusion around that. And I was a little confused too, because I didn't understand the zombie thing. And so the interview that I was watching, the lady's name is Melanie Gibbs, and she was is an LDS member, and she knew Lori Vallow from the church. And I guess when Lori met Chad is when things got weird. But Lori and Melanie were friends before that. So Melanie really played an intricate part in helping the cops and told her story to the cops long before the news outlets and everything found out about everything. So she has a whole lot of insight into how the belief system worked for them, or their particular belief system. So I just thought that might be interesting to talk about this morning. Hey, KNR. Oh, thanks, Carl. So yeah, I thought we could maybe talk about that this morning. And then I just took some notes because it's 2 hours long. It's a pretty long interview. I just took notes, and then if y'all have any questions, I might be able to answer them because I did watch the whole thing, and I just took a few notes on it. So, does anyone not know what case I'm talking about? Do I need to do like a brief explanation of it real quick? Would that be helpful? It's the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell case. Chad was just arrested. Lori had previously been arrested. And Lori's kids were missing, and the police were trying to find the kids. Okay. Lori's kids were missing. The police were trying to locate the kids. The family wanted to know where these kids went. Well, like, your kids don't just up and disappear. And they kept telling the police that the kids were with this person or with that person. The family was doing like a well check to try to find them. It was a 17-year-old and an 8-year-old, 8 or 9-year-old. I get mixed ages on JJ. Tylee is the daughter. JJ is the son. Tylee was 17. JJ is 8 or 9. And it's really complicated because Chad Daybell was married. Lori Vallow was married. They were married to different people, but they were a couple. So they each had a husband and a wife separate from each other. And in this story, Chad Daybell's wife dies off. Lori Vallow's husband dies. Lori Vallow's brother dies. And then recently, they just found the 2 children also deceased. So a lot of death. And recently it's come out that it's because of them being zombies is what the court papers are saying. So this that we're going to talk about this morning is going to kind of explain why they believe they were zombies. Yeah, it's crazy. And it really took a long time for the police to make an arrest and all of that too. Because after the wife of Chad Daybell passed away, they flew to Hawaii and got married. Like, they were literally waiting for her to pass away so that they could get married. And they did. They flew to, that's why they went to Hawaii. Any of the news stories that were playing, everyone knew that they were in Hawaii. It was like, what? They just up and went to Hawaii? Their kids are missing. No one knows where the kids are, and they're in Hawaii? Well, turns out they had a plan all along to go to Hawaii as soon as the wife died. They were going to Hawaii to get married. It's really strange. So let's get into what Melanie Gibbs had to say. Melanie Gibbs is Lori Vallow's best friend through this whole process. And her stance on things were she believes in LDS and their belief system. She was best friends with Lori Vallow and listened to the things Lori and Chad said, but she didn't fully commit to those beliefs that Lori and Chad had. Some of it she kind of took in, thought about, but she didn't fully fall for, if that makes sense. Okay, so a big question is, why not just divorce your ex if you want to be with someone else? Like, for me, that was a question. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, Dan, I guess so. I don't know. But in like murder situations, when it comes to murdering your ex or whatever, I don't understand why you don't just divorce. So they ask Melanie, why didn't Chad just divorce or Lori just divorce? And Melanie's answer was, they didn't divorce because Chad said they weren't allowed to. He received this info from beyond the veil and would share it with Lori. So a better explanation of this is Chad was considering himself to be a higher power in his secret religion, and that he could receive information from the higher powers, and then he would pass that information on to Lori. And then Lori would tell her close-knit group. So they weren't allowed to divorce, and that was on Chad's info. Okay. So Chad told Lori they have been married many times in previous lives, the first time he met her. So Chad and Melanie went to, or Melanie and Lori went to a conference, and they met Chad. And that was the very first time Lori had ever met Chad. And as soon as they met, he told her they had been married many, many times in past lives, and that they were supposed to be together. And from there is when things just instantly kicked off, and they started being together on almost a constant basis. Melanie said it wasn't described as a cult, or she didn't see it as a cult, the little group that they had. She said it wasn't described as a cult, or she didn't see it as a cult, because it didn't share these. Chad didn't share these outside the doctrine beliefs with groups of people. He shared the doctrine with most, but shared these outside beliefs one-on-one with a few, and with Lori. So I guess the best way to explain that is you have the regular doctrine that the LDS teaches. And when he talked to people in masses, he kind of had a big influence in the LDS church. He would only speak regular LDS beliefs when speaking to the majority of people. And then there was a handful of people, just like a handful, a small little group, and Lori. And he would teach his beliefs, these kind of crazy ideologies, to Lori. Lori would sprinkle that to their little handful of people. If he did talk to people, which was rare, it would only be that handful of people. And he would only do it one-on-one with those people. So the people that he was doing that with, they knew what cults were, and cults were groups of people, and one person trying to teach that doctrine to a group of people. So to them, it didn't come off as a cult, if that makes sense. So I think that's kind of how he pulled this off a little bit more. But there was, I think, about 5 of them that were aware of what he was saying. What was going on with Lori, those teachings were separate from what he was teaching in the mainstream church. That's what I was just talking about. Yeah, he, I think, wrote books and was pretty high up within the LDS. Okay, KNR. Ryan. Melanie, the lady who is giving out this information, she admits she was sucked into it, but not brainwashed. She spent almost every day with Lori. So, I don't know if you've ever had like a friend that you talk to on the phone every day or you're around every day and you don't really believe everything they're telling you, but you want to be supportive and loving to your friend. I guess that's kind of how she felt. And then she believed maybe a little bit of what she was being told, is kind of how she explained it. Chad would speak to Lori because Lori was with Melanie. And then Melanie, she knew what was being said because they talked all the time. So if you ever vent to your friend what your husband or your wife says, or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, that's pretty much what was happening. So Melanie knows all of these details because Lori was telling her, oh yeah, Chad said blah, blah, blah today, or Chad did this today, or, Chad built a portal in our closet. We'll get there. He literally told her he had built a portal in the closet. But yeah, Melanie was privy to all that because she was best friends with Lori. So it wasn't that she was, I don't know. I sound like I'm defending Melanie, but I'm not trying to. It's just she knew all this stuff, but she wasn't a part of this stuff. And that kind of comes out towards the end of the interview. She was there. She feels dumb for not speaking up, but she was like, this isn't real, like, oh, it's not real, but I support my friend in whatever she wants to, as long as it's happy and healthy. It was kind of her thought process with it. I've been following this Lori and Chad situation for months now. I really hope the children were safe, like lots of people. So sad. What I really wonder is how on earth does it get to this? I agree, Dan. I completely agree. Yeah, I don't know. Well, let me keep going because it kind of, it's a lot what this Chad Daybell was doing. So Chad and Lori believed they were the head of the 1,044, or the 144,000. And this is scriptural. So they did eventually believe they were to be leading a group. I don't know this part of the scripture. I wish that I did. My guess on this, just from what I've heard, is that only I can't say the number, 144,000 will make it past the gates or whatever. I think y'all get it. And Chad believed and convinced Lori, and then they both believed that they were the leaders and they were to, in Revelation somewhere. They believed they were to pick and choose and lead that, and they believed that fully. Every 2 years, you have to get a recommend with the LDS to attend the temple to make sure you're still living by the standards. Lori and Chad were not living these standards, but they were still going to the temple. So I don't know how that worked or why they were still allowed to go unless they had hidden it so well. But I don't know how they were able to hide that so well. That part confuses me a little bit and also disappoints me because maybe someone could have helped a little bit more, but I don't know. Lori claimed she knew Melanie in past lives and were best friends. She tried to make her feel chosen. So another reason Melanie was kind of sucked into this whole world is, much like Chad did to Lori, Lori turned around and did that to Melanie and said, oh, I knew you in past lives. I remember I have all these memories of us being best friends in past lives. And Melanie was, I don't remember any of that. But we're great friends now, kind of thing. But then they also tried to make her feel very much like she was chosen, and she had a very low self-esteem, and they made her feel good. Took advantage, I think, a bit. The doctrine was written down. So this I found interesting, and if they ever release this, it's going to be wild to see. Much like Scientology, how some stuff from Scientology has leaked out, and you're able to read a little bit here and there about the different levels in Scientology. Apparently, Chad Daybell, and I don't know who else helped him write it, but the doctrine was written down, how many past lives you needed to make it to the next list, etc. And movie stars were even on the doctrine. So it sounds a bit like Scientology and kind of out of this world stuff. And it was written down somewhere. So hopefully, maybe there'll be a glimpse at that to give a better understanding of like what the heck they were thinking. All right, so apparently in the LDS, this is something I didn't know. Couples are sealed together in temple to remain together after this life. It is against temple procedure to talk about this process. Lori and Chad did go to the temple and said that they were sealed by the other side of the veil, the people of power. So again, this isn't real people in the temple doing it. This is people that Chad speaks to beyond the veil. And he said that they were sealed. And then Lori shared this with Melanie. So a little odd there. This part I found really, really odd. Lori said she had lived on 21 planets in past lives. Chad, 31 planets in other lives. They had Holy Ghost lives, 5 each. And Chad made a portal in Lori's closet so she can visit him anytime she wants. It's a sacred area where they could connect. So he asked, the interviewer asked, okay, you got to explain the portal. Was it a box? Was it a mirror? Was it a hole in the ground? Like, what is the portal? Please explain this. And Melanie said she never seen the portal, but from what she understood of what the portal was that Chad went there and he prayed and opened up some special doorway. And so then Lori could just sit there and pray and speak to him through the portal. And this portal was used for other things too. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, there was a portal in the closet. Lori did at times, Melanie thinks, not fully believe in what Chad was teaching her. Lori said, if Chad is Satan, he sure is a good one. She said this on more than one occasion. So, yeah, these are weird, crazy beliefs. And to have these beliefs alongside the LDS beliefs, because they're so different. Yeah, Dan, right? Hey, forever best friend. To try to have these beliefs alongside the LDS beliefs, they're so different from each other. They just don't intertwine at all. So I don't understand how they, I don't understand. But it does seem like Lori at some point did say, at least if Chad is Satan, he sure is a good one. So it does seem like she did have some reservation in her mind, somewhat. Captain, I used to keep a portal potty in my closet, but now it's in the living room close to my patient's bed. Good morning, Captain. Charles was the first person Melanie. Oh, okay. Now Charles is, let me explain who Charles is. Charles is Lori's ex-husband. You know what? I missed one person that passed also. Lori had 2 ex-husbands. She had one that passed away that was her daughter's father. He passed of a heart attack. And then she got remarried to Charles. Okay. Now we're going to talk about Charles now, because he died too. Remember, we talked about that at the beginning. So both of her ex-husbands passed. So they weren't okay. But anyway, both her husbands passed. Charles was the first person Melanie was told was a zombie. Evil spirit named Ned Snyder. Lori was uncomfortable the first day she tried to absorb that information. Charles died. Lori accused Charles of stealing her purse from her car. So apparently Melanie and Lori had a conversation where Lori said, Chad told me that Charles is a zombie, an evil spirit. His name is Ned Snyder. Ned Snyder took over his body. He's no longer a good person. And because of that, he's going to die. And Melanie was like, what do you mean he's going to die? What do you mean and she was like trying to understand. And Lori was trying to understand it the very first day. After the first day, she fully understood and accepted it. And then they said that he was going to have like an accident or something, but then he didn't have an accident. And Chad Daybell said, oh, well, it was because the higher ups, they made a different decision and it's just going to happen a different way. So the way he died was Lori called her brother Alex to come stay at her house and said that she was scared, that she knew that Charles was coming to get her, to take her out. And so Alex, her brother, being her big brother, came to protect her. Now, Alex was also privy to this information about zombies and whatnot. And Melanie said that he fully believed in these teachings. So he was there. Lori claimed that he stole her purse from her car, even though she never seen him. Her purse just disappeared out of her car. And then he showed up and Alex killed him in self-defense. So that's how Charles died. I don't know. We'll get to what happens to Alex later. Lori claimed that everything bad that was happening, that anyone who disagreed with her turned into zombies. The reason for it was because of her level in their doctrine, and that Satan hated her and was coming for her. Lori claimed she knew how many zombies in each state. She didn't know like the personal names of all the zombies, but she knew how many zombies there were in each state. Their goal was to get rid of all the zombies before tribulation came upon us. Prayer was supposedly how they would do it. They would check the numbers, and they would check in with their portal. Here's their portal again. Hey, Reverend Tommy Two-Tone. So, from what I understand, they would know from their portal how many zombies, or from beyond the veil, on the other side of the veil, would tell them how many zombies, hey Mons, were in whatever state. Let's say Idaho. It would tell them, the other side of the veil would tell them how many zombies were in Idaho. And then they would sit down and say their prayers or their chants or whatever. And then to check in and see if it worked, Chad would sit in his portal and he would do whatever he does in his magic portal. And then when he got done, he would let Lori know if they were successful or not in taking care of zombies, if the numbers lowered in that state. So that was something else they used the portal for. Chad's magic portal. Yes. All right. So Melanie visited with Lori, and Lori then tells her that JJ is a zombie and was giving her examples of how he was. So Melanie goes, Lori and Chad move a little further away from Melanie, so she doesn't get to see her every day anymore. She talks to her on the phone every day, but she doesn't get to see her every day. And then she goes out to visit her. And when she goes out to visit her, Tylee's not there. And she, where's Tylee? And Lori tells her she's off at college. And that doesn't quite sit right with Melanie. She doesn't really, maybe, but not too hard to believe, but she's still, that something's starting to click. Doesn't seem right. Well, then Lori starts telling her, oh, thank you, Reverend Tommy Too. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Oh, that's funny, Captain. So then Lori ends up telling Melanie that JJ is now a zombie. And at this point, Melanie's like, well, can you explain this to me? Can you show me what you think? Why you think that? What makes you think that? So Lori starts giving her examples, and Melanie doesn't see a reason why that would be the case. And so Melanie and her have a conversation, and Lori leads her to believe that, that's her son. She loves her son, and, she's going to make sure to keep him safe, even though, he could be a zombie and is a zombie. And they're going to send him to his grandma's, Lori's mother-in-law's. That's the plan. And they're going to do that right away until they can heal him. And that was the plan. And so Melanie feels good about the plan. And they go their separate ways and they leave. And Melanie's not scared that anything's going to happen. It's Lori's son. A mother's not going to do anything to their son, right? And at this point, she doesn't even think there's nothing to connect anything at this point for anyone. So she leaves, and she gets a call like a couple days later, and she's talking to her friend, and her friend says, yeah, we got JJ on an airplane. He went out to stay with, his grandma. He's doing great, blah, blah, blah. So she thinks everything's great. Not so much. Yeah, it will make a sad, freaky movie someday. So then Chad's wife dies. I don't have the details on Chad's wife and how she died, but Chad's wife dies, and they go to Hawaii, and they get married, and things are getting more and more like, what is going on, And then this is where things for Melanie get very... she says they took a turn. They took a turn where she was like, this is wrong, and I'm done. She says that Chad called her, and he told her the police are at, they come back from Hawaii, I guess, and Chad calls Melanie and says, the police are at Lori's house, and I need you to tell them that JJ is at your house. And Melanie said she was in shock and didn't know what to say to him, but she knew she wasn't going to do that. And she said, what? He's not at my house. He's, at mother-in-law's house. And he said, no, they're trying to kidnap him. We need your help, blah, blah, blah. Started feeding her all these lies. And she knew she wasn't going to do that. So then she said she gets a call from Lori. And Lori's all upbeat and chipper and sounds perfectly just fine. Like there's not a care in the world. And she says, oh, JJ's just fine. We're just trying to protect him. They're trying to kidnap him. And we're just trying to keep him safe. So I need you to tell them that you picked him up. And I want you to go and take a picture at the movie Frozen of the screen, so it looks like you've been watching the movie Frozen, and then just take a picture of some random kids running around and say it's JJ. What? You're all over the news. Your kids are missing, and you're calling this person up and asking them, what? Are you kidding me right now? Like, they can't be in their right mind. And I'm not trying to give them the, insanity plea. I hope that they never get out of prison, because what they've done is horrific. But I don't understand how their mind is working at all to think that these kind of things can even remotely be sort of okay. So anyway, Melanie gets off the phone and talks to her friend, a friend that's outside of the situation. And she spends the whole night on the phone with her friend, speaking to her friend till 5 o'clock in the morning. And she finally opens up about what she's been taught or told, because she was always told through them that she had to keep all of this a secret. It's very top secret priority, because it's only 144,000, right? So you got to keep it very hush hush. So she talks to her friend and tells them everything, and her friend, come to the conclusion that Jesus and God, they didn't keep things hush hush. They taught everybody everything, and that's the way that it's supposed to be. And that you go out and you help people, you don't hurt people, and this is not right. and it doesn't make sense, and none of it makes sense. So Melanie talks to the police, and she sits down and she tells them everything. And then she makes a phone call to Chad and Lori, and she asks them if they can pull over on the side of the road so that they can all pray together. And she starts praying with them, but more of a praying and a pleading with them. She said Chad's very nervous, very not okay, because he can tell that she's not going with the plan that he wanted, and gets very upset. So that didn't go so well, that conversation, and I don't think she got to speak to them again after that. But she did plead with them to tell the truth, to open up and speak about where the kids were. She said she knew in her heart that the kids weren't okay at that point, because if they were, the daughter was old enough and spunky enough that she would have found a phone. And then, remember I mentioned the brother that helped protect Lori and killed Lori's husband in self-defense because he fully believed in the doctrine that he was being taught. He then died. They said that he died from a blood clot to his lung. There's question on, did something happen to cause that? But he then died also. So in this family, in this combined family of Lori and Chad, and then all of the married into the family, they have had Charles, Chad Daybell's wife, Alex the brother, Tylee, and JJ all pass away. That's 5 deaths. 5 deaths that are known. Oh, there was the first husband too. 6 deaths that are known about. And all because of a belief system that one man was claiming he was taught by beyond this veil. And from what this interview, the way that she presented it, it seemed almost like she believed that Lori believed what she was being taught, but possibly that Chad was just teaching something that he made up, that maybe there wasn't a veil teaching him these things. And if that's the case, that's one man that controlled such a group of lives, and all the lives of those people are now affected. And it's so sad, the domino effect that one person can cause for such a big array of people. It's heartbreaking. And the grandparents of these kids who spent months trying to just find them, it's heartbreaking. I think that eventually the grandparents kind of knew what the outcome was going to be, but it's heartbreaking. So I will link the interview. I have to go back and do it once this live ends, but I will link the interview with Melanie Gibbs. The interview was done prior to the discovery of the children, prior to finding them. but she does have a lot of insight into what Chad and Lori were thinking, which for me, that's part of the interest I have in cases like these is how does someone go so wrong? How does their brain, how are they so different? Because most people just don't think that way, you know, and I can't wrap my head around that, but I'm interested in listening to it, listening and trying to see where they went, how or where they would have gotten there. I'm always open to seeing that. So that is kind of that as far as that goes, but I will link that interview because it is very, very interesting. Hey, Uncle Lisa. Oh, yeah, Dan, there is more from Melanie. I think that she has certain things right now in that interview she wasn't allowed to say yet because of the ongoing investigation. But I do think she will say more. I am doing good, Uncle Lisa. Captain, thank God you're here. I made enough stupid statements already. Need your help with some more. Oh, you learned more about me yesterday, K&R? Oh, man. It'd be interesting to see what Bob's adventure. If someone could throw a link to Bob's adventure in the chat, that would be wonderful. Because I will be on Bob's Adventures channel today. And he does research on people that he interviews. So I am a bit nervous. I'm always nervous when I'm on somebody else's channel. I was talking about that this morning. I always get nervous because it's new people, and it's not like my people that know me as Bubblehead. But yeah, I'm going to be doing an interview over there. Oh, Captain sent you mail? That's so sweet. Captain has such a big heart. Oh, I love that. Such great people around here. Such great people around these parts. Thank you, Meant to Be. I appreciate that. Uncle Lisa just got a letter. Lisa just got a letter. Uncle Lisa just got a letter. Anybody know that song? Never mind. I just sang Blues Clues. Forgive me. I am an adult. Well, maybe TSA has them. Maybe. Too funny. Oh, I hope it's not a love letter. Uncle Lisa. Oh, yay! Can we drop Nettie's link, please? And everybody go check out her video. We can go check it out. I'm kind of out of things to say. We could check it out right now. We could all head over there and raid the video. I know that it's not a premiere, but if we all went over there now and dropped comments all at the same time and watched it together, that'd be fantastic. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, Our country is kind of a mess right now. Hey, Happy Place Camping. Darn it, I missed all the good stuff. Yeah, it was kind of packed full of some information today. But I'll put a link in this video description that will take you to an interview with someone that really was close to this case. For sure. All right, so today, we're going to raid Mel Nettie Living Free zip code list from here. We're going to go over and we're going to all watch her video and leave her a comment. Please leave her a comment and watch all the way through. She puts out great videos. And then at 9 o'clock, there should be already a thumbnail up. You can just click it and get the little reminder on Bob's Adventure. I'll be over there this morning. So that's kind of what I have going on today. And then there is a whole, and then there's Daydream About Nice Things. There's a whole slew of things that are going on throughout the whole day. There's no thumbnail over there yet. I have a link already. Huh. Maybe it's not public yet. Maybe it's just not public yet. Take a peek. Let me take a look. Why does it always want to I spelt it the way that I want it spelt. And then YouTube wants to change it on me. So mean. Oh. Oh no, it's up. There's a thumbnail for it. Let me share out this little thing here. I found it. All right, here we go. If you want to go ahead and click on this, this is Bob's Adventure. And that's the actual video or thumbnail for the interview later. And then, thank you, Captain. I appreciate that. All right. What did I miss while I was looking things up? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and play my outro. We're going to go over and watch Mel Nettie Living Free zip code list, and we're going to leave some comments, show her some love, and then I will see you all in just a bit on Bob's Adventure. Thank you all so much for coming this morning. I appreciate it. Wishing you all much love and much kindness. Bye for now.